My name is Michelle Coghlan. I'm the General Manager here at Drumhierny Woodland Hideaway, and myself and my husband are also co-owners of the property, along with 3 other local partners, all in the area. So I suppose we opened up here last June, and prior to that a number of months and years indeed in the getting ready for it. Before that I was a General Manager of Kilronan Castle, another local property here, for almost 15 years. So I would have been involved in the setup and the opening of Kilronan Castle also, so I suppose had a good bit of experience from that to transfer to the opening here. And prior to Kilronan Castle I opened another property in Mayo, Mount Falcon Country House Estate and Spa. So lots of opening experience, which was wonderful to be able to bring to this project, which is our own, and put our own stamp on it. Yeah, I suppose it's an interesting question. Hospitality, particularly in the senior management level, is predominantly male. And I would have really found that over the years being in hotel and going to a lot of the GM conferences and that. They all knew me because there was only 1 or 2 women in the room. It was very male dominated. Very interestingly, I did called an elevator program. It was a management program with Hilton Hotels when I finished in college. And there was a German female GM in the Hilton Paddington in London, and she was my mentor. So we would have these chats, and at the very end of the program, she was wishing me well and saying, "It's great, you did well." She said, "I'm going to give you one piece of advice." She knew I wanted to be a GM, and that was the path I was looking to choose. She said, "If you want to be a GM in this industry as a female," she said, "you will have to work twice as hard as your male counterparts." And it's something that always struck me. I mean, at the time I kind of thought, really? But I have seen it again and again and again in this country. I suppose after that I did work abroad, but not in the GM capacity. It's a very different balance of power. You really have to prove yourself as a woman in this industry, whereas you kind of get away with a bit more, if I can say that, as a male. But I suppose in terms of that, as long as you're very sure of what you're doing and your ability, you need to be very confident. Mm-hmm. And once you know you're good, you will get that respect from everybody. Another interesting question, and I suppose it's a generalisation, but I suppose men and women manage and lead, from what I have seen, in quite different ways. I think women communicate an awful lot more, and that's to our advantage. The men sometimes have the power and the strength, and they go in and they move the mountains. I think we can do things in maybe a cleverer way sometimes, and be more efficient, because we're more inclusive when we communicate with those teams around us, as opposed to kind of just charging in there. I suppose sustainability and ecotourism it's huge right now. It has been coming to the fore for a number of years. We wanted to have a luxury product. We wanted to have something different, but at the same time, it would be wrong of us not to embrace that. It's the right thing to do, first and foremost. It's putting a message out there to our customers that are coming in, but in doing it, the customers also feel, well, we're choosing some place that has a good ethos, so it sits well, it resonates well with them. And going forward, I suppose it's getting easier and easier to do that. So we couldn't do everything eco, we couldn't do everything sustainably. Some of it was just too expensive. But we're constantly revising that and looking at how we can change going forward. We're just at the tip of the iceberg. We're not even a year in yet. So just finding the right partners. And I suppose Voya is probably a really good example. Could I have gotten cheaper soaps and cheaper shampoos for my lodges? Absolutely. Could they have smelled lovely? Yes. But Voya is 45 minutes down the road. So, and their ethos is so good that it was a really good connection. It was a really good fit for us to work with them. So it's kind of like a win-win. And then to be able to say that to people, and then Voya is such a well-known brand, that it works for us both from a marketing and a commercial point of view, as well as from a sustainability. So it's just trying to marry those two up and be clever about it, but also do the right thing. you know, and sometimes you just have to do your research a little bit more to get that right fit, and it's not always the bigger hit in the pocket, but when you get the fit, then it's so good, and the amount of customers that comment on that, it's really worthwhile, you know. It was worthwhile doing the research. I suppose I can talk from myself as the woman, and having children, I feel that really is a huge stumbling block, and it's why an awful lot more women don't go up the ladder, I suppose, because the hospitality industry is one of those, it's 24/7, 365. You know, I kind of look at it that somebody else's need is always greater than your own or your own family. You know, you never get home when you think you're going to get home. Something always happens, the plan always changes. You're always juggling a lot of different balls in the air. And I suppose in this business, it's our own business, you know, so there's flexibility, but it's something I would have done with a lot of the female managers in previous roles in employment, is give them the flexibility, and you get it back tenfold. You know, if somebody has a sick child and they need to work from home, or they need to leave an hour early because they have an appointment, let them have it. But there's not enough of that, I suppose, and then that prevents a lot of women from going into or even applying for positions or promotions, because they think, if I go for that now, I'm tied down, I've no flexibility, and they don't pursue it, you know.